Man, I thought you were shirtless for a moment.
Oh man, it does look like it's a gray shirt. It should not look like my skin
That's what I was
tone.
like. It doesn't quite, but like part of it,
It's my
the light shine.
the fact that it's confusing is not great for like a complexion.
Episode 449 of the TV Dudes, Ahsoka. Hey everybody, this week it's just Nick and I, as Randy has fallen ill. He's fine, but he's not able to make it with us tonight.
It's a bad case of force sensitivity.
Yes, the midichlorians are acting up. He's got a midichlorian allergy. There are no midichlorians in Ahsoka that I could see, but still, Star Wars. I will forever bag on you for that.
But they're bacterium less. You wouldn't be able to see
That's
them.
true. It's true. You can only sense them. Like 1,000 bacteria crying out in silence. Anyway, obviously we're going to talk about a Star Wars show tonight. Just Nick and I. We're also going to talk about all of our favorite desserts that are going right now with the After Party, Harley Quinn, Justified City Primeval, My Adventures with Superman. It's just, there's so much on right now. But as always, I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. So, getting right down to it with our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Whenever it's just Nick and I, because we room together, our TV diaries are basically the same thing. I realize from week to week.
As your Padawan learner, I am just putting the visor on, swinging my lightsaber at the shows that you deflect for me.
Right? You're just swatting them away with a weird little rat tail braid. Isn't that what Padawans have?
Even when we didn't live together, we're the only ones that'll watch certain movies with us together. Like,
yes, yeah. What was
who
it?
else am I supposed to go like, hey, babe, you want to watch fucking Anaconda versus Lake Placid?
Like, yeah. Meanwhile, like, I'll text you. There's something called Anaconda versus Lake Placid.
I'm already 5 minutes in, baby.
I mean, honestly, half the time that I bring up like Six-Headed Shark Attack movies to you, and you're like, "No, I saw that. No, I showed part of that to you. It was terrible." Oh, that's right. Fuck.
Yeah, that one's not as good.
Yeah, that one was not as good as we were thinking. Yeah, that's right. There was no shark. Or God, what was the Alligator X that we just kept fast forwarding? And there's no.
Oh my God, Alligator X was like
one 10-second spot in that entire movie.
We couldn't find the alligator in it. Meanwhile, we went to Pope's Exorcist and found 3 solid segments of that motherfucker riding a scooter.
Ciao. Yeah. Pope's Exorcist. Actually, that movie's so rushed that I feel correct in the portmanteau. I've been calling it Pope's-ercist for like a month, and
Pope's-ercist.
So, I guess might as well go. We do have Randy's diary here. It's entirely anime. It is so odd, the change in that guy, just so quick. And I know he won't talk about it on the air. We've given him so much shit for so long.
Just Food Wars, reincarnated as a slime, Attack on Titan.
Magic swords, F1 magic swords.
Oddly brothel reviewers.
Yep. I didn't think he'd be into that, but I mean, heart wants what the heart wants.
Well, it is like when you think about it, it is the food review, like it's the Gordon Ramsay food review thing, but for animated brothels.
That's true. Yeah. Cutthroat brothel.
You don't want to know what their taste challenge is.
Yeah. And now I kind of want a Deadwood style reality show called Cutthroat Brothel. So obviously this past week I watched The Pope's Exorcist, which is a trash fire that is like 3.5, 4 movies in an hour 48. It's absolutely bananas. It's really fun to watch. It also is absolutely ridiculous. That said, it only cost, I think, $18 million to make. I say only. But for a Hollywood movie, that's a bargain. So it's already made its money back. It's done much better than, like, say, Renfield or something. I would recommend watching it if you like bad movies. If you are thinking Russell Crowe's in it, it'll be no, it won't. It will not. It is terrible. It is hilarious, but they definitely did not mean for it to be. Oh man, I showed you the woman that exploded, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so much going on there. Weirdly, the other movie that we watched the same day that had less problems, still had a bunch of script problems, but just like basically the same problems. Nick and I watched Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman.
Yes.
And I swear, hand on a stack of Pope's Exorcism Bibles, Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman has less problems than Pope's Exorcist script-wise.
Their psychic connection to the villain via the main hero is actually better explained.
It honestly, yeah. At least their humor's
well, why does he have a
intentional.
psychic connection with the snowman? Oh, because of the previous movie's antifreeze scene.
Yes, that's
mixed
right.
it with his DNA.
Well,
it's like shit. Well, ask a dumb question,
the Pope
I guess.
Psychically connected to this, I don't know. He's Pope. He's the Pope's exorcist. We also watched in the theater Last Voyage of the Demeter, which was really fun. Had some great stuff to it. Also had 2 or 3 things that just weren't thought through that bothered us more and more after. Like it, you can see why that's not going to go down in history as a great Dracula movie.
No,
but,
and it's
it's beautiful, man. It's got so much cool shit going for it.
One of the most clear cases of studio note made manifest into a character in the only female character on board, when they obviously instead should have just gender flipped the main character.
Yeah.
Rather than adding a completely superfluous character that
she really, it's not just that she doesn't have anything, like they pointedly don't give her anything to do. She learned shit about Dracula at about the same pace they do, even though she's supposed to know more. It's frustrating because when
she's not doing anything, she's just directly conflicting with some of the other stuff they've put down, you know.
But they really do get the ship isolation and the danger of like what you're trapped on board with down better than almost anything. Somebody called it Master and Commander's Dracula or Nosferatu, and I was like, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I really enjoyed it, but I also see why it didn't, set the world on fire. Though their fire effect is nice. Then, of course, we came home and watched second episode of the Netflix Dracula miniseries from a few years ago. The episode called, I love it, Blood Vessel.
Yep.
And
I get it.
Yep. I see what they did there. It's
a pretty good movie that we watched before. That was a vampire movie, Blood Vessel.
Yeah.
Remember the German one or whatever we watched?
Yeah, not too bad. But the episode here, it was fun to watch it right after a much more I don't know, traditional. I mean, I know they'd obviously added some characters and did some stuff, but the Last Voyage of the Demeter feels like an old ship, like an old sailing story, and they're pulling from the captain's log for all of it, and then you've got Netflix's let's play fast and loose with it all. We're gonna have the ship called the Demeter, but it's a passenger ship rather than a cargo ship, and Dracula's just moving around because
it's still a cargo ship. Yeah, but it just takes on passenger to make money off of its thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a brilliant conceit of, since Dracula's chartering the ship, he gets to pick he's paying tickets for who's on board, and he picks victims based on in that continuity, he is what he eats, so he picks interesting passengers, people he thinks are interesting.
Yeah.
So you have
better his language skills or his story, he picks a woman he
you have an in-canon, in-story reason for an eclectic group of people on a boat, like Murder on the Murder on the Nile or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's an in-story, like actual, like, oh, this is why they're all characters, like oddballs and weirdos. And in the Voyage of the Demeter, they're all like fucking they're just another white guy with a beard. That's fucking,
pretty much everybody else is just either Romanian or Russian accent, and they die. They're there to die. Everybody's there to die. Everybody dies, pretty much.
There's a great, like, when they're trying to explain away what happens in the Demeter movie with the Russian hand when he goes missing, is like, probably got drunk and fell off the boat, right? And the other crew members, there's not enough booze on this ship to get that man drunk enough to fall off this boat. That was a Russian sailor, my friend.
I do love, like, there's
map does not add up.
There's some troll hunter like or whatever troll moments, like of
Yes.
just like, are we going to talk about what just
Those are
happened?
footprints. Like, I'm gonna
Like
be the
one
asshole here, I guess,
after
but
one of the deaths, I think it might be the livestock, but after one of the deaths, everybody's dead silent in the room. And then finally, like the sailor, the same one that had said the like, there's not enough alcohol to get him that drunk, just yells
so are
out,
we gonna not
"Is
talk about
anybody
this?
gonna say anything?" It's like, it's great.
Anyone gonna say anything at all?
I
For this fucked up shit.
I found it to be a frustrating movie, but I would still recommend people see it. I watch plenty of worse. Then we watched Blue Beetle, also in the theater, which we'll talk about on Patreon. Then we came back and watched some Young Justice episodes with Blue Beetle in them.
Yeah, so
Because
the opening of
I
season
missed the
2.
shit. I caught up on Minx, having been out of town for a week in Canada. Which, man, if you were at all frustrated with the back and forth, like 2 steps forward, 3 steps slip back pace of Minx in season 1, like Nick and I were endlessly, I would recommend picking Minx up in the last couple of episodes of season 1 and then jumping straight into season 2. It's a blast, just watching them deal with winning, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of dealing with winning, caught up on Winning Time, the story of the Lakers, which did a cool thing. I mean, they're kind of trapped by history here. So the Lakers, I don't know basketball history, but I'm learning from this show that the Lakers lose that next season. They don't even make it to the playoffs. Apparently, it is historical, like first time in decades that the reigning champ got eliminated in round 1. And
they treat it like the brick herd around the world.
Oh my god! And he does just fucking brick that. Jesus Christ. So Magic loses that game for him. They move on. So like Winning Time's in a frustrating place with everybody. Like is that things aren't working. It's kind of fallen into just the opposite of Minx, where like season 1 of Winning Time was just winning, baby. This has been a little bit darker, and it's fun. I still love this show. Also realized that one of the she's not a huge character, but one of the smaller characters on the show is the same actress that played Claire on The Bear. It's like, why do I find her endlessly adorable? Oh yeah, that's right, because you're Claire. You're immediately lovable. Also caught up on all of our desserts we'll discuss later. Winning Harley Quinn, My Adventures with Superman, The After Party. Watched some 30 Rock, watched some Brooklyn Nine-Nine, things like that. Man, we took a Roku to Canada. Netflix works. And most of Disney Plus works. And Disney Plus has a few Hulu things. But that's it. Everything else, world's largest unprotected border, and I'm telling you, it is too much and has defeated Max, Stars, Paramount. Nah. Yeah, they don't have it to cross that border. Pretty much just Disney has the strength for it. I like to think of it as like a black hole or like pushing through some kind of portal or something. Like the airlines have it figured out, but like the telecom companies are like, they just run into a wall. Because
up in the north, like they treat it like north of the wall in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, seriously, it's just White Walkers and Netflix. Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was on Netflix. I watched a bunch of weird shit. I watched like half of The Dirt. I watched half of Red Notice. Just kind of seeing what all was on Netflix. It was weird. Also came back and caught up on Only Murders in the Building, which y'all discussed last week. Holy crap. Season 3 is a blast. Paul Rudd remains amazing, even as a corpse. And yeah, absolutely loving it. Right before I left for Canada, you showed me Justice League X Ruby. I straight up did not know that RWBY was Ruby that you were talking about. I'll be real. I had never fucking once put it together.
But it's
it was two separate things that I was ignoring.
It's your hometown, baby. Like
yeah. No, it was like holy. It was like 2 separate things I was ignoring that just smashed into each other. And actually that was really fun. I'm looking forward to, I guess, part 2. Should be cool. Watched What We Do in the Shadows, which remains fucking amazing. And then because we watched Pope's Exorcist, and Fanny had never seen The Exorcist, we watched The Exorcist. Also, William Friedkin just passed. Man, that is a slow burn 70s paced movie. And I mean, no horror movies are really, really, really scary, but the effects are still cool for, like, they know where their line is for what they can pull off, and they use it really well. Like, there's not very many effects, and it's all handled well. Like nobody overdoes it by 110% like everyone in Pope's Exorcist. I really enjoy The Exorcist, but oh my god, it is, even at 2 hours, it is slow. Wow, I had forgotten. Um, that's about it
Mhm.
for me. I think that's pretty much most of what you watched as well, except
Indeed.
for Blue Bloods. What the fuck?
Man, well, I watched some SVU last week too, and with I don't think I remembered putting it in my diaries, but Facebook, like when you go through Facebook videos, and I didn't realize that if you just speed up the episode just like by 0.1% and everyone's voice gets a little higher, you can just straight up put entire like episodes or at least entire chunks of plots from SVU and Rookie and a bunch of there's Good Fight on there. Like lawyers and cop shows are up for grabs on Facebook for whatever reason.
That's
Because
hilarious. Like that just feels like a proof of concept, because why? Like that's so weird.
and yeah, once I started watching SVU, because I was actually interested in SVU going back and forth, and I started watching it on what had it, Peacock? I think Peacock had SVU.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I was interested. I watched some episodes from like early seasons, and then kind of slowly worked my way up to like you know uh I watched some from season 1, and then and then I jumped to season 5, and then 10, and then 15, like, kinda just taking it by chunks of what was, you know, at the time, and it really does, uh it never do it's SVU, it's never gonna not, and it's Dick Wolf, it's never gonna not be propaganda, but it, does evolve with the times as far as, like, they deal with stuff like, uh George Floyd-esque thing, even before the George Floyd shootings and, stop and frisk, and, I thought it was an interesting kinda window into how it changed over time. The earlier seasons really do treat, like they're still struggling with transgender stuff of, like, dead
Yeah.
naming people and what constitutes a man or a man or a woman, and talking about testosterone levels, not even getting into the difference between sex and gender, and, like, that doesn't come until way later, but, it not unlike Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they treat the detectives like they're a step above regular rank and file beat cops. Like, they're treated like beat cops are the like, "Yeah, well, beat cops are the real problem. They're the fucking muscleheads that see every problem as like they're a hammer, see every problem like, as a nail," you know?
Yeah. But
And
detectives, man.
I thought like, "Okay, yeah, this is propaganda." Then I watched an episode of Blue Bloods. Oh my god. Fucking Tom Selleck is like either he's cool with the right wing agenda or whatever, or he does like just is really cool with the paycheck that they're giving him. Because his honestly, they solve nothing in those. Like it's not like they solve anything in SVU or whatever, but they usually get a bad guy or something,
I've
or
never really
like
watched it, but I just assumed Blue Bloods was like a The Shield, but it's all one family.
yeah. Well, it's not even the Shield because the Shield
They know they're bad at least.
the Shield knows it's a corrupt cop, knows it's a bad cop. In this one, it's just Tom Selleck defending cops of like, oh, poor cops, oh, it being looking for like the media is always looking for any reason to tear down poor cops and like, shut up, like this this whole thing of like how the cops are the ones like attacked so often is such a weird take in this day and age.
Yeah.
It feels like a show from the 80s, and to see it's been like these are like recent episodes are it's just shocking.
Yeah, I think it's hot. I mean, I think it's doing fine, as I understand it.
Yeah, they have like a whistleblower cop that is like that they what at first just call a rat a couple times, and then Tom Selleck is like, the polite term is whistleblower. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you don't even aren't even pushing that hard. Like
Right.
the fact that you're calling him a rat is so endemic of the
Like, okay,
problem,
okay,
and
okay, guys. I mean,
we're not even gonna talk about that. And that episode ends with the whistleblower cop having to take a car ride, like the going to the chief, like, hey, you're gonna have new kids that are wanna be the today's cops, like 2016 cops, I think it was the episode, and they wanna do it by 2016 book rules. They don't remember the good old days like we remember them, and I'm like, they don't remember them because they didn't exist, you fucking
Yeah,
weirdo." Like,
man.
and that's their idea of compromise and progressive is that the new kid, the new whistleblower, has to take a car ride back with the captain to his police precinct, and he says,
Um,
you two work it out because you gotta work together." And that's how the like that's it. That's how the episode ends. I'm like, mother, that didn't solve shit.
cops.
You basically just told that whistleblower that nothing was gonna get done. Go home and go get work. Go shut up
Go
and get
cry
work
in your
done.
milk, baby.
Like
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
that. Like the fact that you think that's like the episode thinks it solved something, and it's like it really does it does make Law and Order look good by comparison.
We had discussed which one like would be considered the flagship like prime Law and Order now, and it's SVU now, I think. So
Yeah.
original LNO. I'm an old, so what I think of as Law and Order that I watched like growing up or in college. 488 episodes, I think. Fucking SVU is already at like 580 something.
Jesus Christ.
There are
Okay. Wow.
there are 6 other Law and Order shows besides those 2.
Mhm.
Like all the criminal intent,
Yeah.
motive, whatever type shit. I don't know if that actually counts the British one, but there's like 8 Law and Order shows, and just 2 of them account for 1,000 hours of cop-tastic television. What's remarkable to me is that they're all every single fucking episode of both of those shows pretty good. Like
Yeah.
it may if it's at all your thing, if any kind of procedural has ever appealed to you, like I'm not even advocating for Law and Order.
No, they have
I'm just saying they've got it down
the structure
so
is so
locked.
solid.
It's like hotel coffee or something. If you drink coffee
You
at
get
all,
the
that shit's gonna be pretty drinkable. It's fine.
every scene furthers you into the story to the next bit of information you need to hit to the next scene, and then that scene hits you to the, like it is fucking story work at like you could teach classes on it.
I'm
as far
sure
as
they
just,
do. I feel like it is a training ground for New York, definitely for New York actors. I think everybody's been a corpse, working their way up to being the like, oh, you're about to break out because you're the either the victim or victim's the corpse usually. But like, oh, you're about to break out. They've got you on the stand, or they've had to call you back into the interrogation room twice. When I watch
I got
out
to
for
see
you in your own show.
got to see a young John Bernthal in a role of like a whistleblowing like magazine guy or some like tabloid reporter. That was pretty cool. Uh,
Well, speaking
uh,
of cops overstepping their bounds, you also watched Superman and the Elite.
Superman versus the Elite. Yep. Which is another thing I saw like clips on YouTube and Facebook all the time, but never actually watched the full movie. And that was a pretty good movie. Like it's a it's definitely a movie from a different time of where it yeah, I guess even nowadays they're trying, but like the like maybe my way of doing things isn't working anymore. People seem to want superheroes that kill or something. And the Elite are the superheroes that kill, and like take it to Superman because like you old man, your thing used to work or whatever, but now people want to just go out there and take care of the cancers and whatever. And then the movie just ends with Superman having a whole elaborate setup to show these guys what it would look like if he took over, which basically becomes the movie Injustice later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in here, it's just a hypothetical where he just shows them and intentionally scares them. It's like Superman intentionally being scary and showing them like, no, 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 no. You don't actually want me to do what you're saying to do because that would look like this. And look, you just shit your pants. Like, because he just starts to take apart the team after like not holding back and like, oh, you want me to just like, I have way too much power for me to just decide what's right and wrong and who lives and who dies. Like,
Yeah.
there's no end to that. I'm telling you that not only is the way I do it the right way, it's the only way to do it. Uh, and yeah, it's a really powerful scene as far as Superman really gets to prove his point, not just in a hypothetical or like beat the bad guy but like really prove a point to the world even that uh
You don't
even
want
though
this. Yeah.
like no for even the people that you think you do, you don't actually. And yeah, I thought it was really good.
And then I don't think we put it on our list, but we also watched Gotham by Gaslight,
Yes.
and that
Which
was
I also
quite
thought
cool.
was pretty good.
Not as I mean, it didn't knock my socks off or anything, but I really liked it better than Doom that came to Gotham.
Yeah, it's more focused for sure
Yeah,
than Doom that came to
it
Gotham.
wasn't trying
It's
to name drop every single person.
mhm. Yeah, and really playing with that time period, having the World's Fair being a new operating thing, like
Hmm.
rather than a rundown old thing that in Gotham, like, oh, that's a cool way to incorporate a known thing out of the Gotham sky, like of the Gotham geography.
I like the Cock Robins, the fucking
Oh
thieving
man, that
little
was a
Dickens
great.
kids.
Yeah, the little like the like they got their own little Fagin that Batman definitely cripples.
Oh my lord, yes.
Like you got to figure that the with the medical technology that is available to that man, you're like, okay, so that guy never walked
No,
again. Like
no.
he's just
And while Anthony Stewart Head was fucking great casting as Alfred, I
mhm.
generally don't understand the like real actor casting when you have voice actors that are fantastic, especially when you had uh both
Grey
Tara
Griffin.
Strong and Greg Griffin in this. And then you've
Grey
got
Griffin
Jennifer
has already
Carpenter just
been
doing like a monologue Catwoman.
yeah, and Grey Griffin also does the singing voice for Catwoman in that show, I think.
Monotone, not monologue.
Grey Griffin has been played Catwoman in a bunch of other shit, like in the Justice video games and a
Yeah.
couple other things, and it's yeah, it is weird of like, I guess they wanted to name drop a cast back when did this drop when Dexter was still big? Like, who cares if it's Jennifer
Jennifer
Carpenter?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Was baffled, especially when the other. It's not like they were busy; they're in this movie. Yeah, weird.
Batman throws his batarang. What a weapon, what a bang. Check out that utility belt. Sure can make a girl's heart melt. He's always right there for the save. I'd like to see his secret cave. While Batman does things in his special way, he'd do it better with the birds of prey. While Batman always seems to save the day, no one does it better. No one does it better than the birds of prey.
Now would be the time when I would stare at Randy and try to psychically tell him in his patter to remind y'all that you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode, help us with these streaming costs, especially if password sharing cracks down. It's going to be fucking hellish. All getting booted off of various streaming systems, I'm sure. So for $1 an episode, you can get obviously more of this genius banter. Sometimes we'll have Randy. This week we won't, but we'll be talking about Blue Beetle, and everybody wants to know about that. Clearly, you can look at the box office. I'm actually not being facetious. I think it did okay. I don't think it's going to make its money back quite yet, but
Did it do okay? I heard it did like actually like
well,
second worst, only behind Wonder Woman, but
yeah. I mean, that's for the DCEU. There wasn't a lot out in the theaters. I mean, I was actually surprised there were maybe a dozen people in there with us. Most of the movies we
mhm.
see are vacant, like we're like Elvis rented out the
It
theater.
was
It's awesome.
opening weekend on us. It was opening weekend on a Sunday morning, so
That's true. That's true.
it probably should have been fuller than that, but
Oh yeah. It didn't make its money back this weekend, which I think that's truly what gets labeled as a success. I think anything that doesn't make its budget back tends to get
yeah.
called a flop. So
I don't think it'll get it's not like it's gonna still make its money back eventually when with worldwide and
I'm
residuals and
I'm
stuff like that.
sure
It's
over
not
time
gonna
it'll do. Yeah. What are those lists you always see of like Hollywood flops that eventually made money and you don't realize are fucking cash cows
but
now?
but I don't think it was the smash hit that uh
But I don't know what they
you know
yeah, we'll discuss on Patreon. We'll discuss on Patreon. Patreon.com/tvdudes, and we'll see you over there. And now would be a good time to segue smoothly over to discussing the thing I have been waiting for all day. I cannot wait to talk.
man, this is how you know Randy was actually feeling sick and not Like, he let
Right.
us two talk about a Star Wars premiere.
You can't possibly have left me in charge of this. No one in their right mind would leave me.
Randy must have fucking coughed up a lung or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ahsoka premiered. And
So Nick,
wow,
you're going to
had
take point on this. I watched both episodes with you, but what is Ahsoka?
had I known that this was going to be so heavily Rebels focused, I would have actually gone back and watched the last season of Rebels, because I had never finished
I would
it.
not have.
I thought I honestly, the trailers made this look like they were in it. And I'm like, oh, cool, they'll cameo, because this is supposed to be Ahsoka's story. And let me tell you right now, it isn't. It just kind of, Sabine is more of the main character, really, as far as anyone going through an arc or struggling. And the main thing they're searching for is Ezra and Admiral Thrawn, the two big names in Rebels. So I'm guessing that they just wanted to have the Ahsoka name on it to get new viewers in that aren't intimidated by watching a bunch of a cartoon, I guess. But
Because I mean, literally, out of that whole list there, I recognize Thrawn. That's it.
it's so heavy. I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I like this because I really like that show, and them really committing to it in the live action in no way in a way they haven't done with a lot of the other Clone Wars shit or Visions or any other of the other stuff. But also I had to like basically look over at Randy and like, yeah, that person's this name, that person's dead. They're looking for this guy. Like, it is. You've had to have watched at least a season of Rebels, if not more, to really get what's going on.
There was one moment between Clancy Brown and Ahsoka and other person, none of whom I knew, and like they're all standing there and they have like a look at each other deep sigh together, and I was like, wow, this is like when we watched Urban Jaws 2. There's no one else watching Star Wars thinking that. But seriously, I have missed like so much
a lot of lore here.
Like there's two characters sat on a dock and I don't know what the fuck they're crying about.
So the main plot of this is that Ahsoka has found a magic map and seems to be a map that is where Admiral Thrawn was banished to, maybe, but also seems where Ezra is, even though they seemingly died in the last battle of the Rebels show. So I guess instead of dying, they must have fucking found themselves transported to what seems like a different galaxy, because they're definitely building a Stargate to go get it.
Or something.
Which
yeah.
It's about time Star Wars stopped stealing from Star Trek and started stealing from another sci-fi property. Good for stealing from Stargate. Give Stargate some love. And so that causes them to try and get the whole crew back together, because Sabine's an artist, so she'd know what a map designed by like ancient Jedi or whatever the fuck she finds them in. And there's two new Sith
I was only half joking. Was that really not the temple from the end of Fifth Element? Was she not back on Earth? And oh wait, no, that was
Fifth
an Egyptian
Element
pyramid on Earth.
Was
That's
love?
Right.
No, that was not like. But yeah, the new baddies are previous Jedi. We actually don't know. Almost like one of my complaints about the first two episodes is that we have nothing to go on for these. It's not like they're established villains or anything like the Inquisitors or Vader or Maul or any of these other people that have established backstories. These are brand new characters, and I don't know a fucking thing about them.
They're Sith.
And I was like, Jesus, you want to give me, I don't know, anything about a motivation, like other than power? Like, oh, they want power? Great. Just anything. It just like really just give me anything to hold on. Like, it's Ray Stevenson's fucking last performance, I think. You want to give him a little bit more to chew on in this role. But I did enjoy the episodes overall. Because, well, one, it's set in the time period of Star Wars I like, which is the time period where everything is super advanced, like magic, like technology is basically magic, except for the fact that none of it quite works right. Like, it all seems to also be kind of like you have to take the cartridge out and blow on it, or like kick the boiler to make the hyperdrive go.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. None of the Naboo shiny bullshit. Like I
Yeah.
really like, it's the chunky Star Wars look I like.
I love the feel that like all the ships are barely hanging together in space.
Yeah. But yeah, the look of it was perfect. The way that Andor took everything down, like took Star Wars baseline and like just pulled the gamma curve towards like Dune, like flat. This took it the other way and pulled it up towards like I don't know, slightly heightened. Like the colors really pop. It's Star Wars, but a little friendlier.
Yeah.
I realize they have their own cartoon they're pulling from, but it reminded me of Star Trek Prodigy.
They borrow so much from Rebels that the characters in them, the designs, they borrow the character designs and the color palette, because
to the point of having a mural that's just drawn like the cartoon.
Yeah. So this universe is a little brighter. It's a little bit, more. Like you said, it's not as saturated. It's definitely more vibrant, and colorful. And yeah, the Ahsoka gets to be pretty badass in this as far as the long lost. I think she might be the Jedi with the most fucking experience at this point. Considering or non-Jedi. They keep calling her a Jedi, but then sometimes she refutes that, sometimes she doesn't. Like, she never quite finished her training, but also whatever. But yeah, she gets some pretty badass fights. I love her like non-look at the like spinny boomerang lightsaber that comes back. Like, bitch, this isn't my first lightsaber fight.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
Think I don't know a boomerang double-edged lightsaber sword when I see one? I know you're calling it back.
Yeah, there's also another guy, Murrock or whatever, is one of the other Sith like Inquisitor types. I like his or her helmet. I'm not even sure who that character is.
Yeah, but they're like their Black Knight helmet is cool.
Feels like they're gonna reveal somebody inside that helmet, and it's gonna be dumb. But until then, they look pretty cool.
Do you remember the metal banded monsters from the first Thor movie? The big giant destroyers or whatever the fuck they were called.
Yeah, the destroyer.
Yeah. His helmet kind of looks like that to me, the head from that.
Yeah. I keep expecting the visor to pop up on it.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to know. I want to know who that character is. I want to like, these were much more fun episodes than I thought they would be. And at the same time, at the start of the first one, I was like, man, who the fuck are any of these people? And also punctuated with the occasional, damn, Star Wars is dumb.
Well, like I like the idea that this is the closest they've gotten to it. And they've touched on it before, but I do like the idea of when the rebellion wins and take down the Empire. The rebellion was made up of smugglers, rebels, pirates, basically loose cannons, and people that are like wouldn't be on the right side of the law all the time. And now a lot of those people have to be generals or captains or higher ranking people in the new government. Like Sabine, and yeah, the idea of making a government with like Han Solo types and how the friction of that, I always thought that was a good idea, and they play with that a little bit here. And Clancy Brown is also here. I'm not sure why that character needs to be played by fucking character actor Clancy Brown.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see him show up in anything. Clancy Brown classes up any joint.
And yeah, there's small things like you and me noticed that her nail polish was chipped.
Yeah,
in a
there's
scene.
Good little touches to the costuming, to the world.
That says to me that she had her nails done at some point for a event 2 weeks ago, and is like never bothered to like keep. She is not one to keep maintenance on nail polish. It says a little bit about the character without having to do anything. And I would say some of the lightsaber fights, especially the one with the new Sith apprentice, the girl, and
Alison
and Sabine was slow. Like, it felt really weirdly slowly choreographed, which a lot of the fights, lightsaber fights in a lot of the shows have been feeling like that lately, I think.
Yeah, I haven't watched Star Wars in so long that I had a moment of like, Nick, are all lightsaber fights slower than I remember?
Well, that's one thing that the prequels actually have on some of the newer stuff is that they're like, you could say what you want about the of the first movie, but the Duel of Fates is a pretty good lightsaber battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty well choreographed, and the speed of it feels dangerous. And these fights feel pretty. They don't really feel that dangerous.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. It's hard to describe as far as like it feels like there should be more viciousness behind and like some speed or real intent behind like trying to hurt the other person, and it feels more like a choreographed dance
Mm-hmm.
than than two people actually trying to kill each other. And I think that's a risk you run with advanced sword fights of any type, but maybe even more so when those swords are made out of light.
Right. Well, all in all, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'm not going to keep watching it. I assume you probably will. And I'm
Sure,
sure.
I'm gonna have to catch up. I'm catching up on Rebels first, though. I gotta watch that last season. I really like Admiral Thrawn, so if they're gonna tease him coming back, I kind of like that. So
Well, there's no way we don't end up talking about this week to week, even if I keep it off of the desserts. It's going to end up in your and Randy's TV diary, and we're definitely going to talk about it next week because we definitely skipped Randy's week of talking about Ahsoka. I agree, Nick. That's how you know he's really sick. There's no way he'd have missed that.
there's no. Not only would he not miss it, he would not let us two talk about
Oh my
it.
god!
Like
Yeah,
alone, like with no one to
would leave
defend
me,
it.
Who would leave me unattended with the Star Wars property? No one. Get out of your mind. So moving on to all of the desserts this week. Now that I've got the vegetables out of the way. That's right. I said it. Star Wars is a vegetable.
What's our first dessert?
Our
What do you
first
wanna start
dessert, I
with?
think we should talk about Justified City Primeval, which I'm almost certain that was the penultimate episode.
Yeah, no, I think it's a 8 episode series.
Yeah, I think so. And so we finally watched, after a whole season of watching everybody underestimate Mansell, I think it's his name, the villain, the
Clement
criminal.
Mansell, yeah. Mm.
We watched
Boyd
he
Holbrook's character.
and Boyd Holbrook. We watched him and Raylan come to a head and have their tete-a-tete, like have their sit down. And it's the first
Yeah.
time that we really get to see people fully fucking underestimate Raylan over and over.
Well, god damn it, Clement Mansell is the luckiest son of a bitch in the
Oh
world.
my lord. Yeah.
He is touched by God, like the criminal gods for whatever reason.
Seriously, step out and run to the store for cigarettes just as the cops are coming, kind of shit.
Yeah, and even when they get when the characters wise up and done what they should have done in the first goddamn episode is give the cops that gun.
Right?
Even then, it turns out the chick we've been hanging out with, we spent time at her house. Like Raylan let her kids stay at her kids' house or whatever. She's in the book and is about to railroad this fucking homeless black guy.
I was so thrown by that.
Yeah.
That twist.
I didn't know what was going
like
on
that.
at first.
I was so thrown. Same here. I was like, who the fuck is that guy? Am I supposed to remember his name? No. Yeah, so this intricate plot with all these criminal acts that also happen to tie into just dumb luck, this little black book that Keith David had at the first episode. He gets killed randomly. Like, it's so many just trash fire crimes fucking each other up. But now you got this book out there that's full of everybody's secrets. And lo and behold, some of the cops are in there. As soon as it happened, I was jaw dropped by it. And also it made perfect sense of like, fuck, damn it. And you can see Raylan like, shit,
man. Well, also Raylan's fucked because he can't he can't explain where that gun came. He can't tattle on her. Like he can't explain where that gun came from.
Yep. So he's in a bind of not being able to expose it. And it's great.
So, and then like, I do love he confronts her about it though. Like, you want to tell me I ain't seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah. When he looks at the other guy, like, you in the book too, or you just an asshole?
Yeah.
Like,
turns out that guy's just an asshole.
Yep.
I do love that his weird arbitrary line. Cause like, I assume all fucked up cops have them of like, do all the people in there, are they are getting are they being convicted for stuff they did? Nah, obviously not. but also they did other stuff, and I'm like, wow, okay,
asshole.
like,
all right.
way to really justify. And then, does that make me an asshole? He's like, maybe. I'm like, no, it definitely does, you psycho.
But then he follows it up with like, but have I ever outright done what that lady just did? No.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fuck, he's got a line. He's got a line in the sand somewhere.
Well, it's a weird, arbitrary line, but like you said, you'd have one as a fucked up cop. Like you have the justification in your mind. Like you say, no one goes to work thinking they're the villain.
Right.
And in order to think you're the hero, you have to have some sort of weird, fucked up
Right.
line and arbitrary thing. So yeah, he's never outright for selfish reasons fucking railroaded a guy to cover up evidence. He's probably railroaded people to get them on other shit because he couldn't get them on another charge.
Right.
But not just to cover his ass.
But not just because he was about to
like,
lose a case and like, I don't take losses. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I realized as this show was starting that I had not watched all of Justified, and while it's still not my favorite. I mean, it's not the first thing of like, holy shit, I'm back in town. Let's watch some Justified right now. It's really good, man. I'm really enjoying City Primeval, and knowing that as good as this is, it's still not Justified at its peak. Really makes me want to go back and watch Justified.
Well, what I realized about Justified too is that what helps Justified out on the cop angle too is that he's hunting down marshals hunt down people that have escaped prison or protect witnesses.
Yeah, it's even better than the detective loophole.
Yeah, it's even like his job is not to convict people. His job is just to grab people after they escape prison or escort them to to hearings and stuff, or just straight up witness protection. So his job is a step above on the criminal justice. Like, not to say that it can't also be corrupt. He did shoot a guy in the first episode and very much got away with it. Like, but it allows you to be on his side a lot more in a way that a straight and beat cops just kind of have lost that luster and benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And this, man, Sandy is at once smarter than I think she is, but also still really dumb. Like it takes a character really walking her through the steps of, I need you to understand this. I'm not here to make you testify against him. I'm telling you, I have the gun that he told you to get rid of.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be upset that I have it.
That by getting rid of it,
because you didn't get rid of it. I
ended up with it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
And we've seen how he handles people that let him down, right?
I think her smartest move, though, is in that same conversation. She has a really smart play when he's like, no, but we'll get him. He'll go to jail this time. Yeah, that's what you said last time. Or that, not you, but like, that's what they said last time.
I love she says that if he was paralyzed from the neck down and had nothing in his hands but a pencil or whatever, I would still be worried about it. Like, he is, people just finally saw, like, a character's just acknowledging that you can't nail this guy down for anything. He skates on.
Like, he's the luckiest, meanest fuck on the planet.
Like, and she's like, I didn't testify the first time, and thank God I didn't, because he walked. And I would have been dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Really enjoying City Primeval so far. I don't know where the daughter went, but why she was on the show, but whatever.
Because he gets to walk on the murder charge of 3 other people that were unrelated because he killed the right person with that gun like 15 years later.
Right? And it just works itself back around. It's really, I mean, cosmically lucky.
Yeah. To the point where it almost never really gets to that point again, where it gets back to the first episode of Justified, only now I'm on Raylan's side of like, look, I don't know what magic this guy has going for him, but if you have an excuse, shoot him if he even touches that gun. Fucking end this somehow before more people die and get like, because your girlfriend is gonna get killed, man. That the what's her name, the defense attorney, she's fucking next.
Yeah, the Albanians,
and she must know it too because she sent the Albanians after him. And like you said, Manziel is now underestimating Raylan in that scene, which was great because he's like, "You trying to get me to put my prints on the murder weapon?" And or like, "Are you trying to get me to sign something?" I'm like, "Man, you are not getting this."
I know he's trying to get you to catch a bullet.
All he
motherfucker.
wants you to do is reach over and grab that bag. Because
Yeah.
then it is legal to shoot you. Like Raylan is done. He's done. Like he tried doing this the right way or the smart way or whatever, and it's like, nah, fuck it. Like I'm gonna go back and do it the way that I know it works. And again, because he's that's when the Albanians show up because
Boyd's the luckiest motherfucker ever. Yeah.
is
And then
this the murder weapon? Kerploop,
Yeah.
right into the river. Like fuck.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the next episode brings and how this thing wraps up.
It's got to
been good
be
so far.
Clement and Raylan teaming up to escape the Albanians for a minute,
Right.
you know? And
Speaking
then
of,
the rest of the episode is chasing them down.
Speaking of shows coming up on their penultimate episodes, we are coming up on the end pretty soon of After Party as well.
Yes.
I've been enjoying the shit out of this season. And it's completely different, but just as fun for me as season 1, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All the new weird characters. This week we got Fang,
Mm-hmm.
the King of Bing, and the found footage that was taken by let's see, it's more annoying than Kyle. It's
Kylie?
no less annoying than that.
Kyler.
Yes, that kid, Kyler. So what have you been thinking of After Party so far this season?
This season is really fantastic. It's impossible to judge based on the first because the first season you didn't know how well it held up on how fair it played until it all
how tight and how magic it is.
and once the final episode rolled, you were like, "Oh man, you guys, yeah,
Magnificent."
you didn't cheat. You didn't cheat your way out, and so it's hard to tell before it all wraps up here. I will say that this is the first episode where I'm like, I don't feel the format here worked for me. I think
this is the first dull episode to me, I think.
The found footage makes everything look boring. Like because no one can embellish and lie about what happened.
No, it seemed like they just shot a boring reception. It looked like behind the scenes footage. It was kind of remarkable in that regard.
It lacks the zany, otherworldly feel of seeing something from one person's particular perspective and hearing the world how they hear it or see it how they see it. And now it's just, you see it from that, and they try and replace it with Kyler being a weirdo of, hey, TikTok bro, and then like doing little TikTok videos and having the memes and whatnot. And it's like, wow, what a bust. I would much rather the idiosyncrasies of what other people like. I don't want to see a video of what Anik actually said. I want to hear the interpretation of what the other people said. Like this is the first episode we haven't heard a different take on Anik trying to drink that gourd or whatever.
Yeah,
because he's never said the same thing twice in one episode. Of like everyone heard something different, and it's
and I thought they'd lean harder into the one fun thing about doing this style episode, which is that like the ability here to show you that actual real conversation, but we really didn't even get that. All we got was like one little clue drop.
I swear to God, even make the horse a pony. Make the horse smaller. Like it looks the exact same, but it's smaller and everyone remembers it bigger.
Right. Like something like that.
Was it?
And I
small?
kept kind of waiting for those moments, and it was a good episode, but it wasn't great in a show of pretty much solid great episodes. This was the first kind of letdown. That said, we did get a little bit more info at the very end of this one. The mom storms out and says, well, of course you'd want to talk to me. I know who killed him. And so next week's going to be her, and then we'll have one more. So there's 2 more episodes.
And we were talking about this. She went into the closet in the bedroom when Zoe was in there to ditch the teapot, and she saw someone in there. Like I forget what she said, but like I was surprised to see you here or something, and walked in there. And then when she walked back out, she stopped accusing Grace of killing Edgar.
Yes.
So whoever she met in there, if it wasn't the killer, it led her to realize who the killer is.
Yeah.
And or at least who she thinks the killer is. But yeah, her episode is going to be a 50s mental patient
Like housewife noir kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm into that for sure.
Yeah. And then
also, she tries to get rid of like, hey, do you want this suit of armor? I swear to God, Les, that suit of armor, it is integral. There's someone in it.
And who ran past? Oh man. I can't wait to see it wrapped up, and there's just gonna be this light go off of like, oh shit, so that and that and this means that and that means this. Yeah, I'm stoked. So we got 2 more of those, and then we're gonna lose another dessert. I don't know how many we have left of Harley Quinn, but I hope it's 1 million. Because that show is keeping
this
up
season,
the
hard to be
fucking
sure.
standard. When I got back into town, I had 2 Harleys that I got to watch pretty much one after another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was just an absolute joy. I do wish, as always, that there was more King Shark. What the fuck?
Well, not only more King Shark, there hasn't been a lot of Bane.
No. But what we have gotten a lot of is Nightwing butt jokes.
Yeah, so the bold move this time around was to, and you got to experience it like right after, since Nightwing got killed in the end of the previous episode. Imagine waiting a week of like, whoa, did they just kill Nightwing? And yes, they did.
Well, we were literally like waiting for it to play. We're like having the discussion again, you again and me for the first time of like, well, he can't have really killed him. He'll be, oh my God, that's his funeral. Oh my God, his casket has a butt.
Right. And it's one of those things where I'm not sure exactly where this is going. I don't want to say like call it too early as far as it not making sense or not tracking, but Harley sees herself in the party at the end of this one. And I'm wondering how much of this is some sort of a hallucination because she's been sleepwalking.
Right.
But then again, Poison Ivy's story has been going on concurrently. So it can't all have been a hallucination. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be revealed that maybe she killed Nightwing, or it's really hard for me to buy that Nightwing is completely dead.
Yeah.
Because that's such a dark storyline. And
I think there's going to be a fake out. Also, you said the funeral was sparsely attended.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Barbara, it goes out and just kicks the Legions of Doom's ass as she's drunk, because she thinks one of them might have killed Nightwing. And then Joker comes up and says, I did it. I killed Nightwing. And she just basically half-heartedly takes a swing. Harley stops her and she runs out crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Okay. Like,
yeah, it was
there
weird.
was nothing stopping you from beating his ass and taking him in. Like, anyone that would have stopped you is on the ground with a nosebleed right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Joker also making that turn. I like the idea that his family is making the turn with him. That I like.
Yes. Yeah. I was with you. I'm disappointed to see Joker turn. I've really enjoyed Mayor Joker more.
Well, also it's hard to buy that, oh, I killed Nightwing and then put him in a random spot in
and didn't claim it immediately.
And didn't claim it immediately. Like, what? Are you taking credit for something or other? Like, I don't know. There's something that's not adding up, and I'm wondering if that's intentional. Like, I'm waiting for a needle to drop in the next episode. I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. Or if the show is like making some decisions that I'm not like, I don't know. For me, it's not quite the body episode of Buffy, but killing Nightwing should have like, that should have way more. Even in a comedy, this would have way more like ramifications and big emotional dealings with Robin, like Bruce Wayne, who we have not seen this season.
Yeah, like honestly, you've got a Robin you can kill that everybody be like, oh, they're just doing the Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Killing Dick Grayson is huge. That's never happened that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so I'm gonna be mad as I always am if it's all in somebody's head. I hate that. But
yeah,
I kind of hope it is. I think it is.
Well, it's either that or the entire Bat family is way more callous in this.
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
Also, I was kind of hoping this season we'd get Bruce Wayne she promised to telecast him into therapy sessions, and we haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought like having I like the Batman in this universe. I think he's funny, like as the Batman that actually really needs therapy,
Right.
and you know, and I don't know. Like, also, did it read weird to you that the trans character was not supportive of Harley trying to be a hero at all?
I had
No,
not
you
really
should
thought of it in parallel, but as soon
you
as you
should
pointed it out, it was all I could think
no,
about.
you
that,
should
like,
stick to what you originally are. You're a villain because everyone decides you are a villain, and it doesn't matter what you feel like you are on the inside. You're a villain. What the? Are we
weird
not
take
gonna?
for the one trans character. Yeah.
Are we not gonna address this? Maybe it's
Especially
an
when
unfair.
They talk about their transition in the same conversation. It's
Yeah. Yeah, like you were a inspiration when I was transitioning as a great queer villain. And it's like, "Oh, cool, and no one can ever change?" Is that your take?
just
That's
stay
a
in the
weird
villain
take
closet.
for the thing you just said.
Yeah. It was weird. Of course, they're not dealing with those same issues over on My Adventures with Superman, even though it is an Adult Swim show.
That is so weird to me.
I know, so weird. But I'm fucking loving this. Holy crap. My Adventures
this
with
is
Superman. I got to see the Mixie episode, the Mixittle episode, and then got to see the 0 Hour Part 1, which I think
this is there's which is there's
second
3
to
episodes
last.
left. Like,
Yeah.
this is it's a 2-part penultimate, and then there's an episode after that.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be Superman basically taking care of whatever they got in Task Force X and Suicide Squad. Like, also, ooh, wow, great way to bring about a Suicide Squad almost immediately.
Man, it's like it's literally as soon as they have enough people to field a team.
Yes, they like
neck collar them all.
Like they were waiting to fill a roster, like to fill a baseball. Like as soon as we can fill a baseball diamond, we're in it.
One of those guys is just the janitor. I don't care. Put the collar on him.
I did not realize that one of them from the previous weeks was a gender flipped heat wave. That was pretty cool. I was like,
I really
shit,
enjoyed seeing
Heatwave.
all of them fight. That was really cool. Watching Superman get well, even when in the Mixie episode, like Superman can get chumped by Lois. I mean, like, because we're seeing a young enough Superman that he not chumped by Lois, but chumped by a villain about Lois being in danger. Because it does not occur to him that people would play him yet. Young naive Superman is really working here. I really like everybody's attitudes. I like that the show is called My Adventures. It's clearly Lois centered or Jimmy centered.
Yeah, I really like. People were talking about whether or not this was like, no, it's not a Lois Lane show or whatever. It's a Superman show. I'm like, nah. The title says it's My Adventures with Superman. Who do you think they're referring to? It's not Jimmy.
It's not Clark. Yeah,
it's Lois. Like, and I think that's a interesting way to take it, and her having a face off with her dad in the next episode, I'm pretty sure is going to be where they go with it.
I think so too.
They haven't name checked the general, right? But they
just keep calling him the general, but it's got to be who that is.
But that's
right?
General Lane,
right?
That's he's coded like he's coded Asian, just like I'm not sure how the same as Lois or whatever, but they just confirmed that she is in fact Korean, I think, in this continuity, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they confirmed that she's Korean, I'm pretty sure, but or at least of Asian descent, but I'm pretty sure it was Korean. The fight was really good. The fight in the air, pushing him down towards the park, and then Soup's having to really get into it and put him down at some point, and he, like every other point where he takes the next level to his powers, he gets that blue energy thing going on, and I get reminded that, oh right, they're doing that, like they're getting a little bit more of the blue electric Superman thing going on in this one. Like
yeah, he's a little bit more electrical than he used to be.
To a point where I'm wondering if they're going to use the blue suit in the finale. That's a hard suit to try and redeem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but he flashed to it a little bit for just a moment. He went blue and white. It seemed not in the suit, but like they went more electrical.
Is blue and yeah.
Like they went more electrical,
So
and I had that same moment of like, are y'all gonna seriously?
Like you're gonna seriously do one of the most hated suits in comics, like.
Yeah.
Uh,
But honestly, the
I-
show's made some fucking amazing choices. I whatever.
it
Do
might,
it.
you
I
know,
love the like middle finger passing, like who was that Alex character? I don't know.
Oh, dude. So I remember like I was telling you, and it was so subtle. I didn't realize it at some point. And I'm not even 100% sure if they're still doing it. But when he started shit talking Superman, and I just got this feeling. I was like, hey,
What is that character's name?
what's that character's name? And it was like, we don't know what's his last name, because they just said his name is Alex, and I couldn't find his last name. His name, he's just as Alex, and I'm like, that motherfucker's Alexander Luthor.
That is a redheaded, like, yeah,
that
ginger bastard. Yeah.
Which is man, that's a great way to backdoor.
Oh man, especially when the writers have said outright of like, we are not doing Lex. We don't want to do Lex in this show. And then just to like, but you can't have a Superman, you gotta have there he is. There he was. See? You see that guy named Alex? There was your fucking Lex. Will you shut up?
I
love it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, and yeah, oh man, we didn't even talk about Vicky Vale. Vicky Vale being
she's both the greatest
big
and the worst.
With she's the big get from Gotham, because like she's the established name. There's not really a Batman to deal with. She took down the Falcone family, and like,
oh yeah, Lois is so starstruck.
Her using them to get a pay increase at the Gotham Gazette, like they weren't, like she was never going to come over to the planet,
yeah.
And like, yeah, and her like really running down of like doing what Lois was trying to do before, of proving that Superman's a liar.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. I can't wait to see what else this show does. The season's too short. Here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be so sad.
Well, interesting. We do have a piece of kryptonite. I'm not sure even the what do you call it, Argus don't seem to have all their tech seems to be Kryptonian based,
but they don't seem to have an actual piece of kryptonite.
Yeah, so I think that's another like fucking wild card running around. So yeah, a lot of moving parts that could come together in a real interesting way. I really am enjoying the show. I think it deserves another season. Hopefully it's doing well. And
it seems to be.
Between,
then again, I don't know how skewed my fucking online viewing is. Everybody I've seen talk about it online seems to love it. Well, that about wraps it up for us. It's been fun chatting with Nick about all the things that we just recently said and watched together. Wish Randy was here to lend some insight onto Ahsoka, because I'm definitely not the
I don't
guide.
I can live without it.
I'm sure we'll discuss all of Ahsoka again next week, because it will be absolutely unfair that Randy did not get to weigh in at all on this. Nope, that's the only time we're going to talk about it. It's gone from TV Dudes forever. Sorry, Randy. No more talking about Ahsoka. And until next time,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.